Thank you, Michael, for joining me today. Glad to be here. We are going to talk about lessons learned from real life work that's been out there in market for 2+ years. Set the stage a little bit. July 2021, Spectrum partnered with Blockgraph and TV Squared at the time, which is now Innovid, hopefully everybody knows, to bring a first-to-market cross-platform attribution solution to your advertisers.
Correct.
So how's it going? What have you learned?
Well, it's going great. But if you take it back, so much of what we just heard and so much of this morning is, this is complicated stuff. People understand intuitively that linear and streaming together is going to optimize your reach, but how do you sort of transact in an easy way? Or our customers knew from a Spectrum Reach standpoint, we have incredible linear inventory. Our streaming services is most watched on a household hours per household basis. So we had that piece, but they also wanted to know, does it work? And how do you think about from a lower funnel standpoint? And in partnering with Blockgraph and TV Squared, we identified an opportunity to both be simple and demonstrate work. From a methodology standpoint, it's pretty straightforward. You match an ad exposure to a website visit on a one-to-one basis, and you utilize Spectrum Reach's aggregated and de-identified data on a first-party household basis, working with Blockgraph to make sure we're privacy-focused. And that's where Innovid and TV Squared came in, right? To sort of apply the attribution model, which essentially measures the number of website visits within 7 days of an ad exposure. And what's been remarkable over the last 2 years, we've had probably, close to 300 campaigns, over 150 advertisers that we've been able to look across industries to get some immediate, quick, fast, in 13 minutes or less, insights that everybody can sort of take with you and really see how multi-screen advertising can work on a lower funnel basis. So it's so far so good.
Okay, so I love what you said in there too about simple.
Yep.
So I feel like a lot of what we've heard today, and we all know there are challenges in our industry, and there's a lot of things that are really hard right now. But I think hopefully in this quick rapid fire session here, we can talk about some things that are actually easy, and there are things that people can do today.
Yep.
Right. So let's dive in. First lesson learned, I think, kind of hinges on the idea that prime time is maybe not always the best time for everybody.
For a lower funnel, it was really interesting is the first thing we noticed is that non-prime time actually performed better from a lower funnel standpoint. In fact, daytime and early fringe performed 2 times the average from a prime time standpoint, which is not to say prime time is not effective. It's hugely effective from a lean-in standpoint, hugely effective from an awareness generating top of funnel. But as you're trying to build a balanced campaign from a multi-screen standpoint, those other day parts have some value.
And I think how important that is for smaller advertisers, right? Who are feeling like maybe, do they feel the pressure to be able to commit to that big price buy? Yep. But actually, you can actually do a lower price buy, might be less reach, but you're still going to see outcomes.
Right, and if you're being intentional about what it is, and I think as I recall, there's some stuff that you had found years ago relative to the non-prime time pieces.
Yeah, so we did a study a few years ago that looked at Friends reruns in non-prime time and compared that to other genres of show that were running primarily in prime time, right? And when you looked at the outcomes, right, so this is a rerun show, non-prime time, and response rate was 131% higher than the comparative set. I mean, I feel like that's surprising.
Well, I mean, look, and we're trying to find incremental opportunities to have successful advertising campaigns. So 131 is big. So, all right. So the next one's a couple other big numbers that were sort of interesting. One of the other things we found out was really when you advertise by category matters, not from a day part, but day of a week part. I don't even know if that's a thing. But for example, so auto, what we found was on Mondays, it was 13% higher than average response rate. Grocery, Wednesdays were 14% higher. What was really kind of cool was on Saturdays, travel and leisure industry was 42% higher than average response rate. And so as you think about why that is and how you sort of go through that and understanding the role of television immediately, but also sort of a longer term effect on lower funnel, it changes the way that you might do an ad campaign. Because you're trying to get 4 or 5% incremental, but a 42% increase in average response rate is significant.
That's amazing. I mean, I think I was saying to you, I always heard like I should shop for my travel on Tuesday. But maybe that's because I was influenced by the TV I saw on Saturday, and then I'm coming back and doing that shopping on Tuesday.
You know, it's a great point. It's something that when we think about television as a lower funnel, part of the lower funnel solution, it's not that immediate click here, right?
Right.
There is a
Absolutely.
latency to it, and I think part of what Innovid is doing is sort of building a model to allow us to simply and effectively do that. And so we've been excited and intrigued, and our partners and our customers have obviously benefited from it.
Amazing. Okay. So where we're at, we've got number one, prime time, maybe not always the best time. Second, lesson. Beyond just prime time, really the day of the week can matter depending on what vertical you're in. Okay. So third lesson, let's talk about creative.
Yeah. You know, we were talking about it earlier. Technology and the ability to sort of target in an addressable way and look at different segments is amazing. But if you don't have the right creative against each of those things, then it's really sort of a waste of time. And so what we've been able to also, if you create great insights and attribution, but don't do anything about it, you don't optimize, which I know you really sort of focus on, what's the point? And so we recently did a study specifically, we did hundreds and hundreds of campaigns. We did one in particular with Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. They had a ton of research, you know, big company, while it's a franchise in Wisconsin, big company, big understanding of their customer. We built a custom campaign. We have at Spectrum Reach an in-house creative agency, which allows us to rapidly develop creative on a market by market basis and customize against segments with the markets. So we did that, had a great plan. We're in it second quarter of last year, and it did fine, but we identified a number of key insights. The networks that they were buying were not, some were worked better than others. The customer that they had targeted was right, but could be optimized based on website visits. And because of that, they changed the media plan and the creative, which I think is really the important point that you're bringing. It's not just an optimal media plan, but based on a better understanding of which customers are moving to the website at a higher than average way, you're going to create commercials that are going to be targeted at that particular customer. So that was second quarter. Within 8 weeks, you know, as they started the third quarter, they developed a new campaign, better targeted based on the insights, better creative based on the insights, and so an immediate 25% lift.
That's incredible. So I think, how much do you think, so again, going back to what's hard and what's easy, you guys have this in-house creative agency.
Yep.
So is that available for all of your advertisers to leverage? Because I think that's a big thing that I feel like people don't optimize as much as they could because it does feel daunting at times, all the different things to look at. So that seems like a great benefit.
Yeah, one of the things that we find, it's interesting because while we can make our creative services available to anybody, typically it's a smaller customer who has limited alternatives take advantage of that. But if you think about it, we can deliver highly optimized, customized, hyperlocal creative at scale. And so we're starting to see that with certain categories in certain areas, the opportunity to sort of activate the insights that you're gaining from technology and from media from that standpoint.
Amazing. So Innovid, we've been doing these Measurement Mondays recently. Hopefully you've seen them on LinkedIn. And we had one a couple weeks ago where we released a study. It was called the Converge TV Disconnect. And it was looking at the gap between measurement and optimization that exists today, right? And I think the study was 68 point something % of advertisers are measuring on a daily or weekly basis, but only like 57 are actually optimizing at that frequency. And I think it speaks to that, you know, that's the gap, right? This gap of 10% that is not taking advantage of those insights that are right there in front of them to activate, optimize in real time and see the results like what you guys saw in Willa.
Look, optimize with speed, you know, and
exactly.
I think, which historically, again, is the perception is it's complicated to do within a linear streaming environment, but it's not. And if you're intentional at the start, you understand what you're trying to accomplish. You understand what you want to do from a lower funnel basis as well as what you want to do on an upper funnel basis. You can make real time changes, and we've seen that, over and over and over again.
Yeah. And I think just, again, double down on not forgetting your creative. I think there's so many interesting things that we can do today with creative in the environments that we operate in, from, really playing to that consumer, right? Consumers expect in this day and age, you kind of want personalization on almost everything you do, right? I want my content served to me in terms of the content that I like. I want advertising served to me with the kind of advertising that I respond to. And so being able to be watching that and not only optimizing your media, but optimizing creative and always doing those in tandem, I think is going to give you the best
No,
results.
that's right. I mean, think about Pella again. They optimize their creative based on a different media schedule and based on a higher level of understanding of their customer. And so the ability to look through those things, right? You understand day part, you understand day of week, you understand based on that the networks that you want to target, and then by market. Because again, what Pella, Windows and Doors of Wisconsin is going to be different than Pella in New York or in Birmingham or in Central Florida. And so having those insights on a market by market basis, being able to customize that creative and the media schedule is something that, Spectrum Reach is uniquely positioned to do, but I think Innovid as well. And I think that's why this partnership over the last couple of years has worked us so well, because we've got the inventory, we've got the means to act, you've got the insights and the means to optimize. And what we're seeing on over and over and over again is that it's driving business. And if it drives business for our customers, obviously it's driving business for Spectrum Reach.
Yeah, and I feel like there's something this morning, I can't remember what session it is, but it was talking about how a lot of these new innovations are playing out at the local level. It seems like that's what you guys are seeing as well. And it's like, this is a great sort of testing ground, right? We've got these great proof points at the local level that now need to be working their way kind of up market into the national.
Yeah, it's we were talking about that, and we say it all the time, that so much of innovation, like, it's complicated on a macro level. This is so freaking hard. There's so many of the different measurements, what Travis was just talking about before. Like it's confusing, and yet in absence of all these choices, right, the solutions become much clearer. And so we see in the local markets, these customers who want to avail themselves of a multi-screen solution, who want to sort of have specific actions and intentions in mind, are the ones that are often most innovative, because there's less sort of legacy systems in place, and they're more open to new opportunities. And so a lot of what we do, and what's so exciting about today, is sort of share, here's what's happening quick and easy from a local market basis that can be aggregated to anybody here to sort of experiment and to play and to sort of understand, trying different things and really sort of understanding through what we do with Innovid, what causes action, what doesn't, how does it change by market, how does it change by campaign, how does it change by target. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and so many of those local advertisers, and they live and die by the performance of their advertising, right? Those outcomes are what is supporting their business ongoing.
Yeah, and look, and I think, so many have grown up as individuals, but also the importance of digital, which is clearly an important part of that mix. But television's got to work, and they got to understand it. And so not only are we able to demonstrate how it amplifies any sort of a digital buy, but that TV and multi-screen in particular, in its own right, can drive that lower funnel behavior.
Amazing. Okay, so running out of time. So quick recap of what we talked about, and then let's talk about maybe some other exciting things coming. So 3 lessons learned, right? High price, high reach may not always be the best buy for outcome.
Yeah, prime time is not always the prime time for lower funnel. Look at a broad mix. Look at the opportunities to sort of really be intentional about what you're trying to accomplish, and you'll see you'll ratchet up results, pretty effectively.
All right, number 1. Number 2, depending on your vertical, you probably have a sweet spot day. Right? So look across your performance, look at those days, highlight and put your spend and impressions into those days that are working for your particular vertical.
Not just day part.
Yes.
Day of week part.
There you go.
We're gonna, if I keep saying it, maybe day of week part will be sort of something.
That's a new term.
There you go.
Okay. 3rd, don't forget creative. Optimize your media and creative at the same time, and do it quickly.
Yes.
Keep going, right? Okay. Now where do we go from here?
Well, look, this is we wanted to pull this together for today. Here's 3 insights. We're putting together a report probably in the next couple of weeks that we'll share, that gets into each of these in more detail, and a number of other insights that we saw. We were talking, we would love to do more. We'd love to play. We'd love to experiment. There's some really interesting, simple ways to measure and understand. And we'd love to explore.
Yeah, great. Okay, so hopefully we'll be hearing more learnings to share. But thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
I bet. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everyone.